All right, guys, welcome back to the first Fun with Hydroponics video of the season. Here we are with our lettuce seedlings from our windowsill twist cup 6-quart kit. And they're doing real well here. They've been out here for about a week. And you can see they're just exploding, even though it's still mid-April and we've got some pretty nasty weather. But you know what? We'll just cover them up with one of our bins that aren't being used. We've got a whole bunch of them just sitting fallow waiting for the spring weather, which is only a month away or so. So we can go ahead and get our windowsill seedlings popped in there and started to grow as long as they're cool weather plants like lettuce. So we just take our hydroponic bin here and we just end up putting it over. This one's kind of broken up, so it doesn't matter. We won't even be using it. But we just put it over that bin and treat it like a greenhouse. So the water inside is a little warmer than the air as it gets into nightfall and kind of keeps those little seedlings warm if it gets too cold at night. You don't have to do that every night for a long period of time, but that first week or two when you just get them outside, they're still pretty delicate and they're not really hardened yet, so I would recommend that. In the meantime, you're going to be shocked how fast they grow out here. They're just taking off. I mean, compared to the windowsill, they'll grow much quicker. Now I did put a little bit of fertilizer in there. You can see the roots are coming up good. You got to have an air gap. Those roots were maybe half that size when they were in the windowsill, but they're now growing down deep, trying to find the bottom of this 27-gallon tote. And once these plants get big enough, we'll thin them out among some of the other bins. There's 18 of them in there, 18 twist cups, 18 grow sites. They're really wonderful lettuce bins. And like I said, maybe we'll have about 9 in each among 2 bins as we split those up. As they mature and get too large, crowd each other out. So have a bunch of these, you know, $10 or $15 bins around that you can use for various timing purposes in your garden. I think you're gonna like it. Go with those 27-gallon bins to start out with your lettuce. And then you can use the big trash can bins for huge fruiting plants later in the season. Or you can use these too. A tomato would go in the back, very nicely back there. And that's what I intend to do. Once it gets too hot, the lettuce will take a pause during the summer and we'll move to the fruiting plants. These are currently growing just by Kratky method. We're not using any air pumps or any kind of recirculating system here. We're just using stagnant water. And as you see, they're doing great. They love the cool weather. The oxygen stays in the water when it's cool. You don't have to worry so much. However, as it gets hotter, you might want to add air through a little Venturi valve. I've got my solar panel still hooked up here from last year, but that's really not going to be necessary until it gets hot. So anyway, wanted to give you a heads up. It's time to get your stuff outside. If you've been growing in your windowsill, start with the lettuce and get your tomatoes, cucumbers, any other plants going as soon as you can, because it's going to take a few weeks from the seedling stage in your windowsill to get them out here. And by that time, it'll already be warmer weather. It snowed last night. Is this crazy? This is how it is here. Roller coaster weather. Old man winter. Trying to hang on for a few more days. Here it is, April 17th. Remember last night? We covered these up. And not a problem, man. Let's take this off. Look at those babies. Sure, there's a little bit of snow left here, but it won't be long. It's melting fast. Look at that beautiful sunshine coming out. So if you want to get your little babies outside early, whoops, let's pull this back in. You know, I got all sorts of prototype cups in here on this one. The holes are 1.25 inches, so they're a little big for the lettuce. I prefer 1 inch for lettuce. The 1.25 inch holes I like for tomatoes, cucumbers, fruiting plants. But I've got all these prototype cups I got to use. So anyway, look at that ice. See, I don't think the lettuce would have survived that ice storm last night, but they're doing fine here in the tote because I put this little greenhouse over them. So do the same thing, cover them up, and you should get a nice jump start on your lettuce this year. Hopefully within a few weeks, these things will be huge and they'll be spread out among 2 or 3 of these bins, and we'll be having a produce aisle right down our side fence here. Fresh, tender, crisp, Boom, you got it. All right, guys, let's go inside and show you how I got these things started. So first step, go ahead and fill this up with some city water. Okay, a little more. We don't want that thing to spill. I put a little, this is the old lid I was using for the propagator last year, but unfortunately styrofoam eventually breaks down and leaks. So we're just getting little lots of water slowly, and I had to put something under it so it wouldn't make the windowsill wet. But this year I'm going to use these bins. I think are a little better. So that's city water. That's probably got an EC of 0.2, 0.3, just from the dissolved limestone. And then this is 2 EC, 2.0. It's a full strength master blend made up, put the directions on the bag, with calcium nitrate and magnesium sulfate. So it's a 3-part master blend solution right there. You can see it's a 14-18-38 tomato vegetable fertilizer, but I'm just going to put a little bit in, maybe a fifth of this. Okay, I think that's enough. And then I'll go ahead and, I've still got about an inch left, an inch and a half, and I'm going to go ahead and first put my seedlings in and see where the roots hit. I want to make sure I'm not drowning the poor plants. It'd be nice if they had a little air gap. So if I need a little extra, I'll just start using the city water. I think that's enough fertilizer. I know it sounds crazy, but that's probably all it's going to take for the seedling stage. Okay, so this is going to go in here, just like that, this lid, and I can just pop the lid off and carry it upstairs into the windowsill if I want, at least for a little while until the roots get too big, or it becomes too messy. Or I could take it out straight outside into my 27-gallon tote holes and drop, so I can bring the whole lot out and do one whole bin at a time. So first thing is, I've got recycled pool noodles. They're all recycled from past seasons. I washed them today with some Dawn dish soap in a little bowl, and then I have all these. Many of these are recycled. These are the basic cups that I started with, and then they're different kinds of twist cups I've come up with. They're all 1-inchers. Some of them are combi cups. They're 1-inchers too. So these are not really made for tomatoes. These are made more for lettuce and other greens and herbs, because they don't get quite as big root structure. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. You're not going to get such big roots, and as you would with lettuce or herbs. Now you can put tomatoes in here as seedlings, of course, and then just kind of lift the whole thing out. Once you get more mature, put them in a 1.25-inch twist cup, which is just a little bigger. I would recommend that. I've been using 1-inch net cups for the last few years, and tomatoes grow fine in them, but occasionally they'll get so big that they'll crack the cup underneath. These are the twist cups without the threads, but sometimes you'll get some cracking down there because the roots will just grow so big. Not all tomatoes, only some, and if you have them in the right tanks that allow them to grow big enough. Okay, so let me put this on pause for a second, and I'll put a few seedlings in. I'm just going to pick one out at a time, lift it out, and I'm going to put it into here. I'm going to take this wedge, open it up, because there's a slit down the middle. Let's see if I can find another one here. There, just pull this one out. This is easy. Should be a slit down the middle of some kind, and right in that middle slit, I'll just put the seedling. Okay, here's another one. For example, you can see that a little better. Slit right down the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just to hold it in there above the water. Okay, hold on. So there we go, something like that. Got the roots down there, got the seedling above, got the little snippet of pool noodle, holding it all together. And that's gonna be a nice romaine lettuce if I do everything right. Okay, there it is in the cup, and we're just gonna find a little spot here and screw it in. With these threaded cups. Now let's look underneath and just see. We want that to be able to touch the water, and you can see it's just a little, so I'm gonna have to add another little tiny bit here of city water. I've got enough fertilizer. I don't want to overdo it. These seedlings, they don't want to get fertilizer burn or too much food at first. Okay. Sometimes you have to go in reverse, counterclockwise, just to get it to feed, and then you just pull it forward. And you can see, that's not coming out. Look at this. It's locked in pretty good. You can go as deep as you want, really. There we go. So let's do another one. Let's do this twist and stick cup. Okay, another piece of cake. Just drop it in there. See how it's going down the root, and we'll get that over here. And we'll put it in. I don't want to go too long. I'm going to put a little more water in here just to make sure our roots indeed hit the bottom there. All right, guys, there's one more loaded up. Sometimes these leggy lettuces aren't so bad because they do easily load into these cups and pool noodles. And I'm going to just turn this baby so it faces the light. There you go, the window. Yeah, perfect. Maybe kind of there. Okay. And just a little tip is don't put the seedling too far down into the pool noodle. You want the stem to have some air. You don't want it all the way down. So pull the roots up pretty close to the bottom of the pool noodle when you put it in. And then just make sure your water level is almost up to the top of the container. You're gonna lose a few of these, but you know, this is a pack of 40 here that I put in the kit of seeds, and look how many we still got. We got way more than we need. We'll probably have to get rid of some of these, but I'm gonna try to put at least 20 of them in here, and then I'll just kind of keep these in this little bin over here with a little water in them for another couple weeks and see if I can use them up. If some of these die, I'll replace them, or maybe we'll try a few different type containers. Got it, perfect. All right, friends, got them all loaded up here. And that took a whole 10-15 minutes at the most. I might lose a few of these. Let's see how the roots are doing. Most of the roots are doing pretty good. They're dangling down in there. It'll be very interesting to see if I get algae growth in here. I'll give you an update shortly after a few days and see how these are going. So I'm going to transplant this bin with algae into this new bin I just made that I painted from clear to white with a black undercoat so that it hopefully will resist algae even if it's in the window upstairs. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like here. All right, guys, we're gonna put these into this bin, filled up now with 27 gallons of water. I don't have any fertilizer in there yet. I just want to see if they can survive with just plain water for a little bit here. They're big enough for fertilizer at this point. They're at least 2 months old, but let's get them in there and see if we can survive the night. I didn't harden them. As I mentioned, it would have been better to kind of bring them in and out, but I'm too impatient to do all that. So let's just get it in and see if they can survive. All right, so I took a little bit out. Let's see if we can get that to work for us so that our roots have a little airspace. We don't want the cups exactly touching the water. We want them about an inch or so above. Now, if you have real small seedlings that are just, 3 weeks old, you probably could pretty much have the cup almost touch the bottom of the water there, or the top of the water there. It would absolutely be better if your tank is level, then they all match up. But what ends up happening, and sometimes your platforms settle a little bit, and then you end up with one side a little lower than the other. The water here is closer to this hole than it would be out here, where it's much farther down. So typically what I do is I kind of use that information to put the big dominant seedlings up front, where the roots are much longer, and then maybe the little weak guys in the back, where the water level is much higher. But we'll just try to make do with what we got here. Let's see what we can get. All right. Here I am twisting the twist cups in. You can see this is working in the 5/16 just fine. Nice, good, strong twist there. Okay, so far the twist cups are working well. Give it a little twist, and they ain't going nowhere. Look at that. That's good. They're in there. And keep going. All right, my friends, that's how easy it is. So don't wait too long. Get those seedlings started in your windowsills as soon as possible if you haven't already done so, and outside in the sunshine. Don't let old man winter scare you. You've got your mini greenhouses, as I've shown previously here, and it's time, especially for those green leafy lettuce, cabbage, kale, chard, and other vegetables. Don't forget to get your tomatoes going and your cucumbers in those windowsills now, because in a month or two, you're going to want to get those out alongside your lettuce and eventually repopulate those lettuce bins with fruiting plants. So just imagine dreaming about midsummer produce. It won't be long, but you got to get started now. To spread the message about fun with hydroponics, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. That way, you let me know if it's worth doing more videos in this genre. Thanks again so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you soon.